Starting out with a quick announcement before we dive into today's episode. We are having a free masterclass on January 30th from 12 to 1 Eastern Time, and the topic is Shape Up Your Weekly Executive Team Meetings for a High Impact Year. So, whether you're tackling tough meeting challenges or fine tuning an already strong meeting culture, you're not going to want to miss these 7 game changing tactics. Register today at capstoneleadership.net/upcoming events or email us at info@capstoneleadership.net and we'll send you a registration link, or you'll see it in the show notes below. And we know how unsuccessful most people are in creating a new habit, a new ritual or routine related to anything, including their health. Even if we want it, even though it might seem common sense and easy to do and doesn't take a lot of time, it can still be very hard for us as humans to create new rituals and routines. I always marvel at this thing about our human brain, that bad habits are hard to break and great new habits are hard to make. Welcome to Culture Change RX, the podcast for healthcare professionals that are committed to creating a thriving workplace culture, improving the experiences of employees and patients, and ultimately unlocking their organization's next level of potential. I'm Sue Tetzlaff, your host and co-founder of Capstone Leadership Solutions. Join me and my insightful guests each week as we share actionable insights for navigating the crucial people side of the business of healthcare. Subscribe now for a weekly dose of Culture Change RX. Now let's dive into this week's conversation where culture change takes center stage. Thanks for joining me. It's Sue here, host of Culture Change RX, and this is one of those solo episodes that we call a Culture Bite. And today's focus of this episode is promoting well-being. So at Capstone Leadership Solutions, when we work with entire healthcare organizations, one of the things that we're helping them with is to adopt a leadership model and then develop the ongoing systems for developing their leaders and onboarding their leaders to that model. And the basis of that core work for that model is something that we call the leadership bundle. So 9 core evidence-based leadership practices that leaders and entire organizations of leaders can adopt to become very synergistic in their work as leaders. So really they create, this is how we lead around here. Well, promoting well-being is one of those 9 core leadership practices. So when Jane and I co-founded Capstone Leadership Solutions to help equip and inspire, in particular, small rural hospitals for positive change, and we were designing the leadership model for that, reflecting on our own experience 20 plus years as healthcare leaders, and in particular in an organization where we help to mastermind and execute a large scale, wide sweeping transformation from a struggling organization to a flourishing one. One of the things that we know was central to that transformation, that positive change, was the well-being of our people, not just leaders, but all employees and all providers. And in fact, it connected back to some work we had actually done clinically to make improvements in critical care. So we were part of a statewide consortium effort collaboration to reduce morbidity and mortality in critical care environments. And one of the core actions that helped improve outcomes for patients was actually the improvement of the well-being of the staff that cared for them. And so that really cemented for us the importance of well-being in the workplace and the importance of that in our culture and the focus on that. And so of the 9 core leadership practices, right from the beginning, one of them, right back to our roots in 2012, part of our leadership model right from the beginning was to include an emphasis on the organization and the leadership role of promoting well-being. So we consider it one of the core leadership commitments. And so when we put that out there as a core organization and leadership commitment, then we have to build systems and processes and tools and resources that can actually help them to do that. Now, it seems interesting, right, that we help healthcare organizations, and it would seem that we wouldn't have to help them learn how to promote well-being when that is their core business, is the well-being of people, the health of people. But indeed, we do have tools and resources and helpful proven approaches that can guide their internal efforts to focus on the ongoing improvement of the well-being of the people in their workplace. And an approach that we recommend in our model for promoting well-being is something that we call resilience rituals and routines. So these are really self-care rituals and routines that help people to counter the physical and emotional demands that can leave them feeling tired and drained at the end of a workday. And so it seems like common sense, right? That if people want to be healthy and or improve their health, that they have healthy routines and rituals. So things that they do daily, weekly, monthly, annually to improve their health. What is their exercise routine? What is their stress management routine? What is their nourishment and hydration routine, etc., right? So it does make common sense that if we want to improve our health, that rituals and routines are a pathway to improving our health. So we can have, again, routines for our sleep, our hydration, our nutrition, our movement, our gratefulness, our stress reduction, etc. But how we put a twist on this that seems to be very helpful in entire organizations and entire large groups of people. It's helpful for individuals, but it's a fun way to approach it with entire groups is to recommend that everyone create a rituals and routine plan that incorporates things like these self-care focuses, such as nutrition and movement, but that they create them into rituals and routines that are timed throughout their days and their weeks. So for instance, one of the R's is ready. So having a routine as they get ready for work. So what are the things that they do before work that gets them ready and improves their resilience as they start the day? So it might be that they exercise in the morning. It might be that they have a nourishing, high protein breakfast. So they have these rituals and routines. Maybe it's journaling or meditation, something like that. But they have a self-care routine to get ready for work. And it's the ritual, it's the routine, and it happens most of the time, if not all of the time. That makes it a ritual or routine. And then that they have a routine or a ritual for how they refresh during their workday. So what do they do when they take a break? Whether that's a quick close your eyes, take deep breaths, or maybe it's their 15-minute break or their 30-minute meal break. But what do they do during the workday to keep their energy high, to keep them fresh, and to maintain their resilience? And then another ritual and routine can be placed as we recover from work. So what do we do when we transition from work to the next thing? So what is our routine or ritual for how we recover from the workday? And then lastly, the other R, the fourth R of resilience rituals and routines is how do we recharge on our non-workday hours and days? So what are the things that fill our cup, that give us joy, that help us with self-care when we recharge on our non-work hours and days? So if we can create a plan for ourselves in how we have routines, healthy routines for self-care when we get ready before work, when we refresh during work, when we recover after work, and when we reach on non-work hours and days. Now, what's really also cool about this too is that this can actually be applied to groups. So we can have our individual rituals and routines, but then we could also have group rituals and routines. So maybe a group ritual and routine is how your family gets ready for the day. So it's not just you, it's how your entire family, your spouse, your kids get ready for the day, and that you do it together. So it's not just personal to you, but you all enjoy it together. And that adds value to that ritual and routine, and it helps you keep that ritual and routine. Same thing when we refresh at work. If we do that as a group, like on our inpatient med surg unit on second floor in the hospital where I worked, they took the stairway and they put real inspirational posters and words in that stairway. And a group of staff would, on their breaks, do the stairs as movement up and down the stairs, as if they didn't get enough steps in all day at work. They use the stairs to, as a group, spend time in the stairway, going up and down those stairs as a group, going to lunch with people. So maybe to you, it's refreshing to have lunch alone, but maybe to others, it's more refreshing to have lunch together as a group. So for instance, I was in a healthy lunch club at work. And so there was a group of 10 of us and we took turns. Every 10th day was my day to bring a nutritious, healthy meal for a group of 10. And so we ate together. We had healthy meals together and we did it as a group to refresh during our workday. And then how we recover for work. So you might have your own personal way of doing this, but you could also do it as a group, that it's a routine and a ritual for your entire department or the team that you work with in your department, and you have a recovery ritual together. So for instance, in my husband's medical practice, they had a ritual and routine that it was almost like a checkout procedure when they left the office for the day, and they had to fill out a slip of paper that had 3 good things that happened that day. And they would write that down as a ritual or routine for how they closed their day. And that was the last thing they did before they exited the building to go home. And then also recharge, you could do things as a group. And some of those things you're going to do to recharge would be things that you do alone, but other things might be in groups. So leaders and organizations can help promote this. So if I'm a laboratory manager, I could help promote this in my department by maybe having some rituals and routines for how we get ready for the day, how we refresh during the day, how we recover from the day, and maybe even doing some things together on our time off that's really self-care focused, like a kayaking club or something like that. So, and then entire organizations might have rituals and routines that are for the entire organization. So like in my hospital, we had an entire organization ritual and routine, which was sit for 60, move for 3. So there, it was encouraged for everyone at work that had a sedentary job where they were at a desk, was that every hour they got 3 minutes of movement. So get up, move, take steps, go in that stairway and get some steps or whatever. But that was an organization-wide ritual and routine that was promoted and supported. And here we are. It's the beginning of the new year when this podcast is being recorded. And we know that many people make New Year's resolutions related to improving their health. And we know how unsuccessful most people are in creating a new habit, a new ritual or routine related to anything, including their health. Even if we want it, even though it might seem common sense and easy to do and doesn't take a lot of time, it can still be very hard for us as humans to create new rituals and routines. I always marvel at this thing about our human brain, that bad habits are hard to break and great new habits are hard to make. But that's just, how our brains work as humans. Even though a lot of this seems easy and common sense and non-time consuming, most of us will struggle with creating, developing, and maintaining the consistency of these new rituals and routines. Some tips that might help with that is to start with not committing to do it for all of the new year, but commit to do it for 30 days. And sometimes when we can just start and commit to a smaller time frame, then we get into the habit, we get the benefits of that new habit. That gives us reinforcement to keep going. We could get techie with it. There's some accountability apps and some motivation apps. So that might be a way to succeed when creating new rituals and routines. Getting a buddy, like I said, doing it as a group that all desire to create the new habit. Sometimes a buddy system can really help with that. I find that getting very specific about the habit helps me be more consistent with it. So for instance, I do better with daily exercise versus 3 to 5 times a week. I am more consistent if I say I'm going to do it daily and I have a time every day to do it. And so I get more consistent versus thinking, okay, is today a day I'm going to do it or not do it? If you give yourself the chance to say no, your brain's going to probably go for the no more than you think. So I can't give myself a no because the answer is yes. I exercise daily. So I can't say, am I going to or not? The answer is yes. It's always yes. I'm committed to doing it daily. So I take that away as a challenge. And then when am I going to do it? So if I have a routine that I always do it before as I'm getting ready for work, then I've taken that away too. So our brains sometimes really do good with that. We think that giving ourselves options and choices will make us more successful at new rituals and routines, but that's not always true. So it might be true for you, but for me and many humans, if we're very specific about which days, so maybe we do it 3 days a week, but we always say it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because otherwise our brains are going to mess with that. And we're going to tell ourselves no more than yes. And we're not going to get in 3 days a week. So get specific. Another hack that can help us create these new rituals and routines is to get creative by pairing the new habit with an existing habit. So for instance, one of my get ready habits was to take vitamins in the morning, and I didn't take any meds. So I wasn't used to taking meds in the morning. So taking vitamins in the morning wasn't part of my routine, but brushing my teeth every morning is part of my routine. So I put the vitamins right next to my toothbrush. So I got one of those little pill things that have my vitamins in it for each day. And I set it right next to my toothbrush so I don't forget to take my vitamins. So I created that new habit by pairing the one habit with the old habit. So the other thing that might be a hack for people is to get financially invested at a high enough level to be motivating. So like maybe hire a health coach or trainer or buy a gym membership. And if it's cheap, you may not show up, but if it's a big investment, so that might entice you to show up to get a return on your investment. So as this new year gets underway, I'm really full of encouragement for myself and for you and for others around you to develop rituals and routines for your resilience. Think about a routine to get ready for work, to refresh during work, to recover after work, and to recharge on your non-work hours and days. Think about a plan for yourself, study and adjust that plan over time as your plan is working or not working, or your health situation or your stress situation changes, then you're going to want to relook at your plan and adjust it as necessary to serve you and your goals for well-being. And if you're a leader, consider how to do this in your entire organization, right? Consider in your department or your entire organization how promoting rituals and routines for well-being of groups of people or entire organizations of people is a core leadership and organizational responsibility. If you're needing additional assistance with this, we actually do have a free course. We opened it up as a free course in our Capstone EDU e-learning system. We have an e-learning course for each one of our 9 core leadership practices. And in our partner organizations, as their organization is adopting the 9 core leadership practices, this serves as like a train the trainer course for their internal trainers on each of the 9 core leadership practices. So we have 9 leadership courses built in our Capstone EDU platform. So we did open our resilience rituals and routines course for the leadership commitment of promoting well-being. And so it can help you walk you through developing your own resilience rituals and routines and your plan for that for your team or your department, how to do that, and also for an entire organization. And you can do whatever part of that or all of it that you want. And we open that up free of charge. And so I'm going to put that link in the show notes for anyone that is interested in taking that course. It is on demand. It is self-paced. What's cool about it is that you can interact with our coaching team in there. So our coaches are in these courses every single day, interacting with students in these courses, most of which are leaders. I'm going to share that link in the show notes if you want to check it out.
Thanks for tuning in to Culture Change RX. If you found value in today's episode and you are a believer in fostering change in healthcare, join us in making a difference. Follow, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite platform. Share it with colleagues and your network. Together, we can make a lasting impact. Until next week, keep inspiring positive change.